Hi, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Village. I'm your host, Angie Catania. Well, if you haven't all heard by now, this is the place to be on Tuesday evenings during the month of July. For years, crowds have gathered here outside the clock tower to enjoy Elk Grove's Unity Within the Community Midsummer Classics Concert Series, presented by the Village and the Park District. In this episode, we're going to take a backstage look at this popular event. Now, put your thinking caps on. Do you remember what artists played that first evening? Think it over for a few minutes while we take a short break, and stick around to find out the answer when we return.
Every empty seat at a concert, game, or special event is a missed opportunity to say thank you to America's heroes. Donate your extra tickets to VetTix. Give something to those who gave. Go to vettix.org.
Welcome back. The B.J. Thomas concert proved that the Elk Grove audience quickly became hooked on the Midsummer Classic Concert Series. And that was only the beginning. Word spread, and as the hype grew bigger, so did the concerts themselves. Let's take a stroll back in time now and see how the concert series evolved into what it is today.
If you're ready and willing and able to go back, y'all want to go back? Do you want to go back? Are you ready?
The concert series came about because we had a fund built up that we instituted when we passed a cigarette tax. And after about 3 years, we realized we had about $100 and some thousand sitting there. And the money was to be used to promote Elk Grove as a healthy, smoke-free community. So my thought was, I know a lot of towns did summer concerts, did events each week or once a month, whatever. So I thought, well, what a better way to promote Elk Grove as a healthy, smoke-free community than bring the people together, put on a concert, a smoke-free concert, and bring everyone to have a happy, good time out in the fresh air.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees and the Village, we are proud to kick off our event by having a gentleman that sold over 70 million records, 15 gold and platinum albums, none other than the 5-time Grammy Award winner. Let's give it up for B.J. Thomas.
So when we started, we thought B.J. Thomas was a coup for us to get some of that name recognition, a national, international star, some big hits, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. So, I mean, that was a big thing. Most towns had what we call cover bands during the summer concerts. To get an actual star like B.J. Thomas was very important to us, especially for the first show. And it really was an exciting kickoff event to something that obviously no one knew at the time was going to grow into what we have today.
We were nervous. This was the first time doing something of this scale, really, in Elk Grove, trying something different. So you always want to do well. I mean, this is our hometown, so it has a little bit of a different meaning to us in some respects. This was kind of going into uncharted territory. We weren't quite sure how the community was going to react. Let's face it, we're in a parking lot, so it was different, but it was fun. It was well worth it.
Let's hear a big hand if you've enjoyed this year of concerts. Showing Bring Back the Midsummer Classics next year.
The crowd really, they took to it. Much smaller crowds than what we see now, but we probably had 3,000 to 5,000 out there, and they enjoyed it. I think the beauty of it is the fact that they're on Tuesday nights. So we really aren't in a lot of competition.
It really was a more scaled down version. You know, we had some cover bands, and we also had some stars on a limited basis, you know, not the big name ones, but ones that are recognizable. The stage was obviously smaller than we have today, and it was kind of unique. We didn't even have a backdrop at that time. You could actually see through the stage, you see the Participant Pavilion behind it, the clock tower behind it. But it was a lot of fun. It was almost a more simpler time back then.
We got a great lineup for you this year. And I want to start off first by thanking the Park District. That's why we call it unity within the community. The Park District partnered with the village to make sure we still bring you the best in entertainment. That was it. Is it now? That was it. Is it now?
What happened was, it became almost like a niche. People look forward to Tuesday nights in July in Oak Grove Village. And so we were starting to build a nice crowd size, and people weren't asking so much for cover bands anymore. They're asking for the real bands. And timing-wise, almost couldn't be better. We put a 1% hotel motel tax, and the hotel supported it under one condition, that the money would be utilized for community events. Well, first it was the bike race, which was a community event. Well, we lost the bike race, so we thought, you know what? Maybe we can take that money and do something and build upon what we're doing already, i.e. the summer concerts. So we had extra money available, quite a bit of extra money. You're talking almost $250,000 available that we didn't have before. Working with Murray at EMG, we decided, hey, you know what? Murray, let's try to step up against some big bands. And we did. We started getting big name bands, and the crowds just grew exponentially from that point on. So it just took off like a rocket then. Then a year or two later, we started getting video gaming coming to the village, and we started utilizing some of those funds for the concerts. So between the cigarette tax, the hotel tax, and video gaming allowed us to build to what we are today. And the best thing I remember was the first time the Daily Herald had in their editorial talking about summer events, concerts, all this, said, in the summer, Elk Grove is a place to be for summer concerts. 4th of July was always the Lions Club Day. They would sometimes have the disc jockey playing some music, selling popcorn, all that. Kind of a nice hometown type of atmosphere. And then they would do the fireworks. There was a Tuesday in July that the 4th of July fell on. So I met with the Lions Club members. We talked, and I said, folks, it is still the Lions Club 4th of July celebration, but we want to get even bigger. So now, for the past several years, we have the 4th of July kicks off our summer concert series, no matter what day it is. And then the Tuesdays after that, we do our normal Tuesday nights here at the town center.
Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree, leaves will teach me also. Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree, how lovely are your branches.
We've got such a nice success going on with the summer concerts, the tree lighting, is a way we can kind of mesh them together. We had some extra funds left each year from our summer concert series, so we thought we could utilize that. We didn't want to put on a show with a statue of what we do in the summertime. Because we draw 15, 16,000 people, it's hard to have Santa come. So we thought we'd kind of scale it down a little bit, more hometown feel concert. And our first year we had Lead the Wise. We've had, Buckingham's, Gary Lewis and the Playboys, Gary Puckett and the Union Gap. It's only an hour show. Half is their hits, the other half is the holiday music, and it really has gone well.
As you know, this area used to belong to the church right there. The village bought it for events just like this, community events. But we need a name for this area. We started calling it Community Park, call it Park LGK, but those are just temporary. Tonight, we're gonna announce the real name of this area. And board members, you wanna hold it up? Lift this side here. Ready? The new name, Rotary Green, in honor of the Rotary Club. Give them a big hand.
Some of our acts we put on, we put the biggest ones at Rotary Green because we hold far more people. The town center can hold maximum, we found out with their supply, about 17,000 people. Rotary Green for Foreigner, we had 25,000 people. So we know we could probably hold close to 30, 35,000 people in that area. So for our bigger shows, we put over at Rotary Green. For our little bit smaller ones, it's great to have right here at Town Center.
It's like our little Ravinia in Elk Grove Village. You're hanging out with your neighbors, it's free. People like that. And I think that that community feel is really what makes this concert series work. It's just that hometown feel for having 13,000, 14,000 people in a parking lot. It still does have that hometown feel.
And so I think what's neat about this is people embrace this as their event. This is Elk Grove's concert series. This is Elk Grove bringing the best talent in the world, come entertain here in Elk Grove Village, and we are going to grab onto that and hang on to as long as we can, because it truly brings a special feel that night. It's a chance for people to escape for even a few hours the world of reality into the world of utopia. They're in heaven when they're here in Elk Grove during the concert series.
Thank you, Elko! You guys are great. Thank you very much.
There are 4 to 5 concerts every July, depending on how the calendar falls. Before the concert series is over, plans for the next one are already in the works. The first thing that needs to be done, the lineup. Creating it can be both fun and challenging. Find out why after another short break.
Ann Wilson, Bonnie Raitt,
Natalie Merchant,
Kim McGraw,
Faith Hill, Paul Anka,
Bob Seger.
It's a nice little buzz that goes on because the community really has kind of taken ownership of it, and they really have played a big role sometimes in who we actually do go and ask for. And in some respects, that's actually how country came about for the village, because there were people that were saying, well, what about country? And so we went, all right, well, we'll give it a shot. And now we still pretty much have country almost every year since then.
So we actually kind of have an unwritten rule. We don't say too much till the night of the last concert. We actually start strategizing on bands. And people don't realize it truly is a 3 to 4 month process. We have to talk about just who we can get. You know, some bands, for example, don't want to do outdoor concerts. So some of the bigger bands people bring to me don't want to do it because they don't want to be outside. Sometimes the cost. You know, the band's not bad, but the rider that goes with it. Bands have 2 costs: the cost of the band itself and the rider that goes with it. And the rider includes everything. There's hotel rooms, transportation, the type of food. Do they want china plates for the meals? I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. We've actually had some pretty good sized bands agree to play for us, but once we got a hold of the rider and the extras they need, they sometimes cost as much or more than the band does. So it just becomes cost prohibitive. And you have what we call radius and time clauses. That means they can't be within 90 miles or within some as much as 3 months before or after your date. So if someone's playing Tinley Park in May, they can't play in Elk Grove in July.
So a lot of times if they don't make it into the final lineup is just their routing. They might have a show in Florida and then it's in North Carolina, or they're out on the, one of the other coasts, and next thing you know, they're like, we can't make it to Chicago. The other biggest factor that we have is a lot of the bands that we have now, you see them where they're packaged with another big name band. We're kind of out of the box with it. We kind of get cut out. We can be talking with one of the agencies and they'll say, yeah, we'll let you know in a couple weeks. And we feel good about the offer based on the conversations. We're feeling good about where we're at. And then the day comes when we're supposed to hear, and they're like, we need a little bit more time. Well, for us, that little bit more time really cuts into things for us for the planning purposes, because we're getting closer to the timeline of when the mayor and the board like to make their announcement. So if that falls through, my timeline to find somebody else just got that much shorter. So there's really where the frustration lies for us. It's the waiting And just when you think you've got it, and maybe, you know, we've had times where we think for certain we've got somebody, and at the last minute, you know, we're like, uh-oh, what are we going to do now? And it's kind of back to the drawing board.
It changes so many times. We've had many times, we've had the lineup set, and all of a sudden this happens, or one of the lead singers has an operation, or this comes up, or this comes up. I mean, and we've got to now go back and find, okay, we can get this band, but now it's got to be the second week. Well, the second week band can't do the third week, so we can't switch them. The other frustration you talk about is you can't please everybody. You know, we get the country bands, because I know there's a lot of country fans, or then the rock and roll fans say, we want rock and roll. Or we get, you know, a band from the 60s and 70s. You know, the older people that know them well love it. But then you got the younger people going, Mayor, can you get a band where they're at least under the age of 90? You know, I hear stuff like that all the time. Usually about November, sometimes December, we have it put together, and that's when we make a big announcement, which we're excited about. And I'll tell you, usually about from September 1st till we make the announcement, I bet you there's not a day goes by. Mayor, did you pick the bands this year? Mayor, did you pick the bands this year? Mayor, you got the bands this year? Mayor, if you haven't picked it, what about this band? Which is great. I like how much people enjoy it, they look forward to it, and they want to be part of it.
After the lineup is officially announced, the planning is then turned over to the Special Events Committee. It holds meetings throughout the year to coordinate all of the preparation of the concerts. And then, before you know it, July's here, and it's concert time again. It's amazing to see how this ordinary parking lot turns into an outdoor concert venue. We'll watch this transformation when we come back from a short break, so stay tuned because you won't want to miss it.
You're a busy man when you turn 18. But with all you've got going on, don't forget to register with Selective Service. It's the law. It only takes about 2 minutes to register at sss.gov. And you can do it without even looking up from your phone. Just like that. When you turn 18, register at sss.gov.
So they're 18-hour days on balance for most of us, and some of the crew comes in and comes out during the course of the day, but they're long days. So every Tuesday, the truck comes in between 6:15, 6:45 in the morning. We have an exact placement that we go with every week. But actually, as a truck, what you'll see here is that the roof is actually the sides of the truck and the front and the back of the truck. That all lifts up, that becomes our roof. Some of the back drops down, provides us with the back of the stage. And then they actually start building out on either side. And they put what we call the wings on either side. It takes them a good couple of hours to pull it all together. So for all of our concerts on balance, depending on who the performers are, the stage size is basically the same every single week. The only time that might vary is if we're doing a rock show and they've maybe got a little bit more equipment, or a little bit of background stuff that they want to put on just for the effects, some stage stuff. But on balance, this size stage that you see, it's with us the entire concert series. So we're kind of in the second phase of how we get the concert series going. Our stage company is going to start phasing out. You got some transition with our sound company. They're starting to unload all of the lights, all of the sound equipment, the monitors. They're the ones that provide us with the microphones, everything that the bands will need specifically for the sound. They also provide us with our front of house, which is where the sound men do all of their work during the shows. The sound company has to hang the lights. You'll see behind me we've got some can lighting. We've got some other lighting that produces a different type of effect on the stage. Once we've lifted the top up to full height, staging company completely leaves. Our sound people are completely here. They'll finish up their job. You'll see on the two sides, that's where the PA gets flown from. That's what allows the sound to go all the way to the back, extend out to the sides. And then we transition over to phases 3 and 4 where we start producing what we call the back line. Basically what the back line is that for those bands that don't come with their own equipment, if they're on a bus or if they're carrying a trailer, we rent it for them. And it can be everything from the drums to the guitars, whatever it is they need, we'll rent. There's constant movement going on with different groups throughout the entire day.
As the stage crew is setting up first thing in the morning, Public Works also has a lot to do. In the weeks leading up to the concert series, we striped the parking lot to make aisleways for the safety of the concert goers. The day before, we set up barricades along the side of the parking lot for the midnight shift to close the parking lot at 3 a.m. 4 Public Works crew members show up at 6:30 to start putting up the green fencing to create a walkway for the talent to make it to the stage and to surround the back of the stage. We also put up black barricades in front of the stage to keep the concert goers from getting too close to the stage. At 10 o'clock, 6 additional crew members come in and start putting out the cones for the walkways, distributing garbage cans, finish up the fencing and closure of the lots. We also create a bike valet, a handicap section, and a standing room only section. 2 additional employees put out all the barricades and signage you see along the roads for event parking and non-event parking. Also during this time, we put out no parking signs on the residential streets adjacent to the concert grounds. At 2 o'clock, we closed the library lot. At 5 o'clock, we closed the rest of the Village Hall lot and put dump trucks in place to close Wellington for safety of the concert goers. The first Public Works crew starts at 6:30 in the morning, and we can be here from anywhere from 10 p.m. till 1 in the morning, depending on the size of the crowd and how much cleanup there is afterwards.
Getting ready for sound check now, so it's just between 2:30 and 3 o'clock, and so some of that noise is them kind of starting to get ready for the show. You might hear them do a song or two. A lot of the times you will see their crew that will come in and they'll do the sound checks for us. It's maybe their guitarists and their drummers will come in. It just might be some of the people that do their stage work. But occasionally they will sneak up there, and a lot of times people don't even know that because they're not in their outfits for the show. So they might actually get up there and do something, and more often than not, people don't even realize it's them. So they're gonna fine tune a few things. We'll fine tune some lights with some people up there. We'll fine tune the sound. And then we're pretty much close to ready. And then we have showtime, and then it's all in reverse. Then we start doing the cleanup, and then the sound company comes and takes down, and then finally our staging company comes in, and all kind of in reverse order.
Mom used to scream about Dad's drinking. It drove me crazy till Mom went to Al-Anon. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
Thousands attend the concerts each year. They come from near, they come from far. Some are huge fans of the artists, and some just enjoy socializing with their neighbors and family on a beautiful summer night with great music playing in the background. People bring in their own food and snacks and their cooler with beverages. Most come to the concert with their chair in hand, hoping to claim their favorite spot. So let's get to know the crowds that gather here on Tuesday evenings in July and see how getting the best seat ends up being an event in itself.
I get here between 5:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning, and there have been, without fail, every single time you will find a couple of chairs sitting someplace.
There's people that tell me, Mayor, I've been sitting by this tree for 10 years, and I make sure we get out here in the morning. I get my chairs set up at 7 a.m., and no one's ever touched them, no one's ever moved them. They're always there when I come back that night.
They can set up anywhere except any place that is a driving lane during that time frame, and they may not set up in front of the stage back to like where some of the bronze statues are by the sidewalk. That area needs to be left open until about 3 o'clock. And that's basically because I've got trucks coming in. You know, we've got the bands coming in, we've got the sound and the lighting guys are coming in, the stage is coming in. We can't take a chance on anybody getting hurt or anybody's personal belongings getting, wrecked.
Remember, anyone that's new here, we do a countdown. All the seats are available. You take your time, no big rush. What time we got there? 20 seconds, so be ready. Don't go early. Don't leave early. Every seat's great. It's gonna be a great show, too. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, go! Look at that, we're getting great seats. Perfect.
3 o'clock has now become our famous countdown hour. And what happened was when we first started doing the concerts with the smaller bands and all that, well, the stage wasn't that big. Murray and his guys could easily set everything up. They didn't have to have a lot of space around it. So people started putting up chairs. You might have 10, 20 chairs set up by noon the day of the concert. Well, as we started getting bigger shows, well, the bigger shows also required bigger staging, more lighting, more equipment. So we actually have to cordon off. We have yellow police tape around there. We have to cordon off an area in the morning so that we can have enough room to work, set everything up. We've worked out with Murray and EMG that they're all done, clear, at 3 o'clock. And I'm telling you, literally hundreds of people are standing behind the tape, the square tape, waiting for 3 o'clock. And what we do is we do a countdown. And we count down from 10 down to 1, and then people all come out. They make what we call the mad dash to get their seats the best located. And the good news is we've had no problems. The people are very good, they're very relaxed. And I do it because I tell everybody this story. Folks, remember, we're all friends here, we're all part of the community here, we all want to have a great time. You all love to get first row seat, but that's not going to be possible. But I'm telling you what I'm going to do for you. If anyone gets a seat location they don't like, or they watch the show and it's not what they expect, you all know who I am. I'm always around here by the stage. You come find me after the show, and I'll double your money back on your ticket price. And most people, they all laugh. You hear somebody go, he's right, the mayor's right, relax, let's enjoy, let's be good. And it's amazing how well it goes.
Typically we set up our chairs at 2 o'clock and come back at 7:15.
We'll set up, say 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then we'll come back a little bit later.
We got out here about 5 to 3, and unless something else happens, we're here until it starts.
I've been here since 11 o'clock this morning. because I wanted to get a good parking space.
You really start seeing people come and hang out probably about that 12, 1 o'clock hour. People will go, they'll grab some lunch at one of the restaurants, they'll walk back, they'll sit, they'll eat, they'll read books, they'll read magazines, they'll sit in the sun and relax. And some people just like watching how all of this gets put together.
Rolling Meadows,
Schaumburg,
Roselle,
Huntley,
Forest Park,
Building.
Elk Grove Village.
The typical concert goer is from age 2 to age 92. They're from Elk Grove, they're from the business park, they're from neighboring towns. They enjoy it all. I have country people come to all the shows. Even though it's not a country band, they just enjoy being here. I got rock and roll people, they still want to see the country people. So we really get a cross-section of everyone coming here to Elk Grove.
The odd thing is we've seen people come from just crazy far away. We've seen people come from Pennsylvania, we've seen them from Ohio, far up in Wisconsin, not just like over the border Wisconsin. We've seen them come from Wisconsin, we've had people here from Kentucky. They love coming here. A lot of times one of the reasons they come here to see the shows is because sometimes the artists that we have don't perform in their area. So for them, you know, a couple hours in the car, come up here, they stay in the hotel, they see a free concert, you know, they eat, they go back the next day, and then of course a lot of the surrounding communities. We really do have that mark on the Tuesday night.
They can bring whatever they want, they just can't barbecue, they can't cook out there, and that's for safety reasons with people. And same reason we have, you can't reserve large spaces. We had a time there where people were putting down 20-foot by 20-foot blankets in advance, and 2 people were sitting on it for the whole show. We said, that's ridiculous. Take the space you need, you can bring a cooler, bring your chairs, get your space you need. Just, we're not gonna let you tape off giant quadrants, big blankets, we're not gonna be comfortable when they come there. And food-wise, I mean, they bring everything. People bring their own food. They stop, like I say, Jersey Mike's, Jimmy John's, bring sandwiches. They go to Jewel to get a sandwich. They can bring their own beer, own wine, own pop, whatever they want. They're welcome to bring it. And I mean, I've seen everything. People have had sushi out there, and I've seen people out there with, you know, bologna sandwiches.
I'll bring drinks and a cooler and my miniature DVD player. I can watch movies while I'm waiting.
We do kind of pack a cooler, you know, and just variety of things. Some water to keep us hydrated, some little munchies.
These are so good. Original Ritz toasted crackers. They are so delicious. Salty, crunchy, and a cocktail.
Fruit, some water, because it's so hot out.
Pretzels, you know, maybe some chips and stuff like that. And I'm sorry, I'm a water fan, but my family brings sodas and what have you, you know, but yeah.
If you want to bring your own food, own drinks, you're welcome to do it. If you don't want to, we'll have one vendor there. So Rocco Vino's came on the very first day. They got a nice mixed cross-section of food, from pizza to sausage to beef. They have ice cream, they got everything there. And their prices were unbelievable. The first 3-4 years, I know for a fact, they lost money each week. They lost money. I felt bad. And Rocco said, Craig, relax. We're doing it for the community. We're fine. Well, now that we have the bigger bands, bigger crowds on, and people say, well, why can't we get someone new? I said, well, wait a minute. Rocco Vino's was the only one that came on during the tough times, actually lost money. And now that it gets good, and some of the other vendors are coming to me, hey, can we get in? I'm gonna throw Rocco Vino's under the bus? I said, I don't think so. As long as they're serving a nice mixture of food, the prices are still very good, they can have it. In the town center here, I would say on average, we draw about 14,000, 15,000. The biggest one we ever had here was a doubleheader of Christopher Cross and Air Supply. We had about 17,500 people, and that's about our max. At the Rotary Green, though, I'd say now we average about 20 to 22,000, depending on who's playing there. But yeah, and that one we can handle very comfortably. We can hold, like say, probably another 5,000 to 10,000 above that easily. We've had probably close to 1 million people to our shows. Our issues have been next to nothing.
The people that have come to see the bands have been very tame. They're very nice people. They just want to come out and enjoy the music. We have plenty of police officers working the grounds. We try to keep the aisles clear as best that we can so we can get through the crowd if necessary. We check on just the safety of everybody and make sure that everybody's good.
We're all about the safety of the people, so we want to make sure that we keep aisles open so that in the event that somebody would have a medical incident of some sort in the crowd, we're able to get our medics to the person who's having a problem and get them out and get them treated appropriately. We keep an ambulance on site here all the time when we have the concerts. We also monitor the weather very closely. We do have plans that are in place in the event we would need to evacuate the grounds here. If we had a good notice, we could move people out of the grounds and get them back home. If we have something that arises on a short term, we've got plans in place for shelters right here at the village facility where we can get people taken care of as well.
It's so well organized and it's a great time. And you can bring your coolers, bring a cold beer, bring your picnic, bring your lunch, and get together with family and have a great time.
It's a time to meet new people, to get to know your neighbors.
I just love the atmosphere. I think it's more close to home, a little more personal.
Just enjoy coming here. I love the people. We just have a good time.
Good sense of community here too. You get to meet your neighbors and just kind of hang out and listen to some good music on a nice summer night.
So after months of planning, the stage is set and the crowd is ready. Only thing missing, the artists, of course. Where are they before the show starts? Where do they go afterwards? Do any of them want red M&Ms in the green room? And what do they really like off stage? We'll find out the answers to these burning questions and more when we come back from a break.
United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. Will you?
Depending on what the artist is doing and where they're coming from, sometimes they may get here actually, into the area like the night before. It just depends on how they're routing. If they're flying, if they're driving, if they're bringing their buses with them. We've had some artists that don't come in until that day because they had a show the night before, and same with their crew. They're all coming in that same day. 90% of the time they are staying local. The only times maybe they're not, quite honestly, is if they have a preference of a hotel that we don't have here in town. Or if they want to spend some time in the city. So, maybe they haven't been here before, maybe they haven't been here in a long time. If they come in the night before, they might say, we're going to stay in the city the night before, we're going to go eat, we're going to take in some of the sights. If they have the buses and sometimes they have the cars, they have their own way of getting around. But we have what we call runners. We've had the same gentleman with us for just the longest of times, and he will literally go back and forth to the hotel, or if we need him to do something, or if the bands need him to do something, or the tour manager, he runs back and forth for them. And a lot of the times, him and Murray, they're the ones that are actually transporting the band, or whoever it is, the artist, themselves, back and forth from the hotel or out to eat, whatever it is. They're the ones that are doing the driving back and forth. Most of the time, they're here, the artists themselves, not necessarily the band, but the artists themselves, whoever the headliner is. They'll be back here 4 or 5 in the afternoon, a couple hours before. Sometimes they're showing up 45 minutes before they have to get on stage. But 90% of the time, they're back here. They're back here in the Village Hall. Most everybody knows this, but the 901 entrance of the Village Hall is actually the entrance for the artist, and the whole area is blocked off. That's why I know everybody knows it. And it's all the rooms that are in this area. So there's like 3 or 4 of them that we'll use back here. It's all closed off. It's very nice for them. Everybody loves it. We've never once had a complaint about the accommodations that the Village has provided to any of the artists, never once. That's my daughter's area. She sets up hospitality. Her and I will come in on Monday night, actually, and we'll start getting the rooms set up is to the best of our ability. So anything that's refrigerated has to come the next day, obviously. In terms of the eating portion of it, almost all of it is local. I think there's only one time that we went out of Elk Grove for food, but everything has been inside of Elk Grove. We tell them we have menus from pretty much every restaurant that's in town, and we show them every menu that we have. We've got our computers here. We can pull something up. We can order whatever they want. A lot of people want to try Malnati's. They've heard about it, so a lot of people, you know, want to try Malnati's. The M&M story, it is true. There are artists that do ask for certain M&Ms, and before anybody asks, was it green? Yes, it was green and brown. So we have had that. We did have one artist that actually asked for different flowers. We had 2 rooms back here, and they wanted different flowers in each room. And it literally said in the rider, depending on the flowers is the feel of how we go out on the stage. We gave them really good flowers, and it was a really great show. We have had special requests for alcohol. We did have one artist that asked for 2 bottles of champagne. Each bottle was costing about $100. We negotiated that one a little bit. Like Bret Michaels, everybody knows that he's a diabetic, so obviously there's certain foods that we just can't have for him. So we set up his room a little bit differently than we set up his band room. So they'll all eat in the area. We've had them go get Chipotle and Jimmy John's. They're happy with that. Sometimes they'll go over to Jimmy's Char House or Avenue 53. They'll go hang out over there sometimes. We've had, sometimes they'll have breakfast at like either at Teddy's or at Ellie's Pancake House. They'll do that. Kenny Loggins, when he was here, he wanted to go to Panera. So we actually took him over to Panera. It's not unusual to see them running around town.
Before one of the concerts, I'm walking through the parking lot. I see this guy laying under a Jeep working on it behind a mobile home. So he gets up and he asks me where the nearest parts store is. So in conversation, we're talking with him, and ends up being John Michael Montgomery.
Bret Michaels, he knew he had to be on that stage at 7:30, and we probably could have started him out at 6:30 because anybody he saw, he wanted to say hello to. He wanted to thank them for coming out and seeing him, and he was taking pictures and signing autographs. He would have walked the crowd and said hello to everybody if they would have let him. I never thought that show was going to happen. And I think they were on the stage playing that intro music, and finally he got that he had to get over there, but he is just one of the nicest people in the whole world.
Our concert contracts say they play a minimum of 75 minutes. Between 75 and 90 minutes is a typical show. We've had some artists go on longer. Richard Marx, he went on much longer than he was supposed to because he's just enjoying himself. We had Village People. We had the doubleheader, Sister Sledge, Village People. Village People was supposed to be about an hour show. They went almost an hour and a half. And that was after Sister Sledge.
The odd thing about Sister Sledge was they had been doing a tour in Europe. Turned out they came in, did our show, turned around and went back right to Europe. So they came basically, in essence, just for us. The vast majority of the time, they're coming back in here maybe to change the clothes that they were performing in, get something to drink, something to eat, cool down, especially if it's been a hot night. And then it really depends on where they have to be next. So if they've got to get back on the road or if they've got to get to the airport for a show that's coming up the next night, they're out of here pretty quick. But a lot of times they'll hang around here for a little bit and, you know, just they'll have friends that'll come. Sometimes if they haven't been in the area, they may have a fan club that comes in and says hello to them. And they stick around for a little bit and then they take off.
We have a lot of contact with the band members when they're arriving to the venue and leaving the venue. But really, they're all really nice people.
John Michael Montgomery was so incredibly friendly and walking around in the parking lot here talking with all of us, and Travis Tritt and his group, and you know, just to mention a few, those people have all been so friendly. It's amazing to see when people who are at such a superstar level just come down to earth and just talk with you and have a good time with the people who are working here and exchange pleasantries, and it's really nice to see how welcoming and how humble they all are with the people who are here.
What we've learned with people that we've worked with is that they're on the road a lot. They're not getting home an awful lot. They don't get to see their families. They're not sleeping in their own beds. It's a very fast-paced, hurried kind of a lifestyle. They appreciate when people take the time to make them feel welcome. And I think we do that here in Elk Grove. We have learned that if you realize and appreciate what their lives are like, and you try and make it a little bit easier when they're sitting in Elk Grove for a day and for the evening, they're just some of the nicest people you could ever want to meet. They like Elk Grove. They like the way they're treated. I mean, everything from our police department, our public works department, the fire department that comes and makes sure everything is good for them, the hospitality that they receive when they're here. They love this community. There isn't anybody that hasn't said, boy, you made us feel welcome, you made us feel like we're at home, you made us feel special. They love it here. That's why we've probably had so many that have said, boy, if you're ever doing this again, we're happy to come back. We've probably had half a dozen different bands say that they would love to come back and be in Elk Grove. But you know, what it really comes down to is it's a nice place to be. It's always been beautiful outside. The community is so warm and they're so welcoming. They feed off of that.
The artists truly love Elk Grove. They really do. They tell me that all the time. Coming off the stage or on stage, you know, before the encore, they'll grab me, they go, Mayor, don't quit what you're doing. We love it. It's unbelievable. So they love the venue. They love the quality of us. They love the crowds. They love the community atmosphere. They can't speak enough. What's funny now is, when we first started this, we had to try to explain. Murray used to have to send pictures to the bands about our venue, who we are, and we had bands come back and say, it's a parking lot. Why are we playing in a parking lot? Now, the bands know about us, and bands have actually reached out to us to play here in Elk Grove. As far as changes, I don't picture much of a change. We got a pretty winning combination right now, and that's one thing I've heard from so many band members over the years, and we've had some big ones, great ones. They've said to me, Mayor, you've got something special here in Elk Grove Village. They stand on that stage, they see from the library to the Village Hall, all the way back to the restaurants there, packed with people, having fun. No issues, no fights, no arrests, no problems. They tell me all the time, Mayor, don't quit what you're doing, this is gold. The lead singer from Air Supply grabbed me coming off stage and said, Mayor, this is the best show we've ever done. We love it so much. If you ever want us back, we're back in a second. I've heard that from them. Travis Tritt, all the bands. Brett Michaels, loved it, loved being in Elk Grove. Said, we're back anytime, Mayor, anytime. Because it's such a great atmosphere here. It's fun, relaxed, and really is a community feeling going on.
Every empty seat at a concert, game, or special event is a missed opportunity to say thank you to America's heroes. Donate your extra tickets to VetTix. Give something to those who gave. Go to vettix.org.
As a huge fan of the concerts, I highly recommend y'all come out sometime, whether you want to see your favorite artists or just catch up with your friends and neighbors. It's a fun way to spend a summer night. From sharing an evening with the legendary Dionne Warwick to rocking out with Bret Michaels, the Unity Within the Community Midsummer Classics Concert Series has music for everyone. And the best part is, they're all free to attend. Like everyone else, I can't wait to see what's in next year's lineup. Personally, I'm hoping for maybe a little Def Leppard, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Sammy Hagar, maybe even a little Stephen Perry now that he's back. You never know. So, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Elvis has left the building, or in this case, the parking lot. We hope you enjoyed this fun edition of Inside the Village. Join me, Angie Catania, next time for another behind-the-scenes look at our village government. Bye.